Just this one. Testing, okay. Good.
Fire up now, or they started?
They should be.
They should be.
I'm hoping they are.
Okay, then I have to go down there then.
Yeah. So if everything is set, then you should be good to go. But Sean. Oh. I think we have enough hands. And after you're done, it's going to go back to me. So or we can do what's happening now. There are. Yeah. Let's see. It is 1 o'clock, but
Last thing, I'm like, I just love last thing. He said, she's like,
who told you that?
I was like, I love her.
I actually am. I haven't flown in ages, but I past life really.
I love it.
Anything else I can help?
I think we're okay. We're just waiting because of the luncheon, so it's taking people a little longer to come up. Okay, so it's a little bit after 1, so let's just get started. Can everyone hear me okay? Yeah? Hi, so good afternoon, everyone. Welcome. Welcome to this week's Spiritual Life Gathering. Today, the Spiritual Life team is pleased to present a Buddhist gathering. So over the next hour or so, you will observe and be invited to participate in some traditional Buddhist rituals and some meditative contemplation. So please note that after each practice, as in the program, we will be having a minute of silence so that you can really digest each portion of the program. So as a community of people from diverse cultural and religious backgrounds, it is so important to us, the Spiritual Life team, that everyone feels welcome and free to participate or refrain from participating, however you feel most comfortable. Every week, we have people visiting the chapel who have not been here before. If you are new to this space, we are particularly grateful to you. Welcome to the Emmanuel Chapel. As we will be engaging in some devotional practices today, I invite everyone to participate at whatever level of comfort is right for you. If for whatever reason you don't feel comfortable and wish to step out of the space, we invite you to do so. And after stepping out, if you wish to return, I'm also welcoming you to do that as well. It should be noted that chapel gatherings at Emmanuel constitute an opportunity for students to explore their own gifts and theologies of ritual and worship leadership. So this is kind of like a custom thing we're doing here. And as such, there'll be some experimentation and risks that we are taking here. So we invite an attitude of generosity on the part of all, and we really appreciate feedback. So please feel free to come to me or to David in the back, or Wingy, which is also in the back, or any of the Spiritual Life team, if you'd like to just wave, and let them know if you enjoyed any of your experiences today, or if you have any suggestions for the future. We love hearing your feedback. And just one quick also comment before we get going. This is going to be kind of like a half and half gathering where the first half of the program is going to be in the chapel, and then the second half of the program we're going to be proceeding outside. So just keeping that in mind, at around 1:30-ish, we will all be getting up and going outside. So feel free to just keep that in your mind for later. So with that, I would like to invite Esther for the land acknowledgement.
Before the land acknowledgement, you might assume a posture that most connects you to the land. You might gaze out the window and notice an aspect of nature that connects you to the earth. Be aware of the support of the land we are inhabiting. This is a safe space, a sacred place, a solemn time. You may wish to quietly express gratitude to the land for its provision, for its shelter, for its beauty, for life-giving nourishment. As we gather together, we acknowledge and respect this sacred land on which Victoria University operates. It has been a site of human activity for thousands of years. This land is the territory of the Huron-Wendat, the Seneca, and the Mississaugas of the Credit. The territory was the subject of the Dish with One Spoon Wampum Belt Covenant, an agreement between the Haudenosaunee and Anishinaabe nations to peaceably share and care for the resources around the Great Lakes. Today, Toronto is still the home to many Indigenous people from across Turtle Island, and we are encouraged to continually strengthen our relationships among all living beings and with this land. Let us share a quiet moment of contemplation.
Hello, everyone. My name is Thomas McKechnie. I'm part of the Masters of Divinity program, on track for ordination in United Church. I am a Christian most days, but I find the practices and ideas of Buddhism quite useful. And one common practice in Buddhist practice is the taking refuge, in which we acknowledge the three pillars of this community. The Buddha, the awakened one, the one who has tapped into it or figured it out or realized what was going on. The Dharma, the teachings of that person, and the way they align with the truth of reality. And the Sangha, which is the beloved community of practice that we gather together in. And that whether we are Buddhists or Christians or Muslims or Jewish or whatever practice we have, we acknowledge generally people who have an awakened perspective and the teachings that they offer and the community that we live those teachings out in. And so I invite all of you to join me in the Taking Refuge verses, which are printed in the order of service. We'll chant in Pali, and we'll chant these 3 lines 3 times. All right. Buddham saranam gacchami, Dhammam saranam gacchami, Sangham saranam gacchami, Buddham saranam gacchami, Dhammam saranam gacchami, Sangham saranam gacchami, Buddham saranam gacchami, Dhammam saranam gacchami, Sangham saranam gacchami. We'll now take a moment of silence. I'll now welcome Tenzin to the podium.
Touch the lake. Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for coming in, and I'm truly grateful for this opportunity as well. And we will be taking the Bodhisattva's vow together. And yeah, we have it right over there. We will have the Bodhisattva's vow over there. So before we get into the vow, I'd like to share a few words regarding the concept of Bodhisattva and Bodhicitta. So the word bodhicitta, if you were to separate it, bodhi means awakened and chitta means mind. So bodhicitta is an awakened mind. So any being that possesses this awakened mind would be referred to as a bodhisattva. And in Buddhism, we have this common analogy of a bird, just like how a bird requires two wings to fly. Similarly, in order to transgress the samsara or the cyclic existence of suffering or to be enlightened, one needs to have the combination of both wisdom and compassion. And with compassion, both compassion and love are very important for generating this bodhicitta mind. And one generates compassion and love by first generating an equanimity within oneself. So this equanimity is where there's no bias against anybody, where everyone is seen equally. And after generating the equanimity, one goes on to develop compassion and love. Love over here means where one wishes for the happiness of the other beings. And compassion means where one wishes for the other people to not suffer. And by generating the wisdom and compassion, one is able to generate this altruistic intention to be able to benefit all sentient beings. And if you were to take the term bodhicitta, we have two aspects to it. We have the aspirational aspect, and then we have the engaged aspect. The aspiration of bodhicitta is the intention of benefiting all living beings. In order to be able to do this, the intention is to work to achieve the enlightened state of the Buddha. And the aspiration is later followed by action or engaged bodhicitta, where one engages in these precepts of a bodhisattva by engaging in the six perfections or the six paramitas, starting from generosity and ends in wisdom. And if one were to question what does a bodhisattva do or what's the purpose of a bodhisattva, we have this wonderful quote by a great master named Shantideva. And the quote starts by saying, "Just like the earth and the space itself, and all other mighty elements, for boundless multitudes of beings, may I always be the ground of life, the source of varied sustenance." So, end quote. And from this quote, you can see how Shantideva refers to the elements we have around us, the fire, the air, fire, all the elements we have around us and how they help us and sustain our living, right? So just like how these elements, they do not have any discrimination, and they're very similar to the sun as well, right? The sun does not discriminate who it's gonna light upon or who it's gonna give more energy towards. And the elements, they serve every single being, be it a human, animal, or even a plant. So they don't discriminate. And also the elements do not have any expectations. They do not expect recognition, fame, or any form of return for their services. So just like the elements, the bodhisattvas have no condition or no limitation, and they're fully dedicated towards liberating suffering from all sentient beings. And the only hope one would say that a bodhisattva has is to relieve suffering for all sentient beings. And hence, generating such a grand attitude is not only just helps oneself be more peaceful, calm, and kind, but at the same time, it helps you help other people and also provide a very harmonious environment. And we have practitioners who actually go into the wild and practice these kind of practices, and they're able to stay safe despite the whole danger of having wild animals around them. And yeah, so these are some examples. And yeah, so we'll go ahead to recite the Bodhisattva vow. So I welcome you all to read it along with me. Just as all the Buddhas of the past have brought forth the awakened mind, and in the precepts of the Bodhisattvas, step by step, abode and trained. Likewise, for the benefit of beings, I will bring to birth the awakened mind, and in those precepts, step by step, I will abide and train myself. Thank you. And we'll do 1 minute of silent meditation. I'd like you to reflect on the concept of bodhicitta. You can even think about infinite compassion or love as well. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. So we have come to the part of the event today that might be a little different from what you're used to. So I will explain a little bit, and then after I finish my explanation, I'm going to go through everything first while we're indoors so that we can hear what I'm saying, and then we're going to be going outside. So this ritual is called Riwo Sangche, which means mountain smoke offering. And so we are making an offering into the fire in order to create, like it's burning it in order to transform our offering into smoke, and then we're letting it pervade throughout the air. And so this is a very specific Tibetan ritual. And something I would like you to keep in mind is that ritual, it can be seen simply as a practice, but it can also be seen, especially in Buddhism, as a type of meditation. In Buddhism, we don't necessarily distinguish between being on the cushion and being off the cushion. And we can try and engage in a certain mental state, whether we are sitting or whether we are walking, whether we are engaging in any rituals, whether we are washing our hands or brushing our teeth, whatever we're doing, we're trying to sort of keep that mindset, whether you want to call it bodhicitta or a mind of tranquility, what have you. So I would invite you to just think about that as I explain this practice and the intentions behind it. So when we proceed outside, there is going to be a fire. And once we are there, starting with myself, the spiritual life team will be leading in making offerings into the fire. So the purpose of this ritual is to offer things that are pleasant for smelling or tasting, something we enjoy, including the base substances which I have prepared. I have also included contributions from the spiritual life team and some friends as well, so that everyone has contributed something, so we are all part of the ritual. So some of these things included flowers, sugar, aromatic substances, herbs, incenses, things like that, along with some tasty foods, like we have some cereal in there, we've got some chips and cookies and some cool stuff. So it really is supposed to be kind of like a meal, but it's not a meal, right? But so by offering these substances into the fire, these foods and these aromatics are transformed into offerings and blessings that will be carried by the winds up into the sky and across the land. This is a practice of generosity and of aspirations. It is typically made to include not just ourselves and other humans, but to also benefit animals, plants, all sentient beings that we may not even be able to perceive, including local spirits or any spiritual inhabitants of the land. It is also believed that the offering smoke can reach other spiritual realms, such as the heavenly and ghost realms. As you cast your contribution into the fire, I ask everyone maybe to make a wish or a prayer or an aspiration from your heart. Perhaps it is one of peace, of healing, of nourishment, or love. Imbue that wish into your offering and let it be transformed by the fire into something that will pervade all of Toronto and even beyond. You can even imagine that as it rises up into the air, the small particles of smoke will eventually reach out in each direction so that the far corners of the earth are touched by your blessing. So, it might take a few minutes, but we are going to proceed downstairs. I will lead from the front and the spiritual life team will help coordinate everyone. We're going to be going down some stairs and then out, like just out the far side where the courtyard is just outside connecting with Northrop Fry. I'm seeing some nods so we all know where we're going. And then once we go out there, I will bring the offerings and what I am asking everyone to do is when they have an offering, they'll be in a little cup. So we're going to scoop a small amount into a cup. We're going to circumambulate the fire 3 times as a blessing of the fire itself and honoring the fire. And then we cast the offering into the fire. I request you do not cast the cup into the fire. If it happens, it's no big deal. But in case we run out of cups, reduce, reuse, recycle. And once we get going, I'm also hoping that I can step off to the side and I will chant the traditional chanting in order to bless the ritual as we go about doing this. Since this is quite complicated, does anyone have any burning questions just to make sure they understand? Okay, I think we're all good. Yeah, so take your time. We have time. So feel free to just get up and we'll get going, okay? Yeah? Yeah. I expected that.
Hi, Abir. Can you hear us and see us?
Sorry, I double knotted my shoes. Good. Almost there.
Abir, can you hear us? If you could just answer in the chat there. Oh, you can. Oh, I see. You can hear us as well? If you can hear me, Abir, just let me know through the chat. You check YouTube, it's not showing. Ouch.
I feel free to you're wearing the mask.
Thank you. Yes. Go ahead and. All right. I deserve it.
Joel, don't you feel very sick that
You know.
very
All right. Whatever, people. You know what? It's okay that I'm already having to endure the humiliation, but whoops. I'm live. I'm live here.
all be and justice. May all be may all be may all be may all and may all be next week is reading week. Yes. After reading week, we will have current